Hey, everybody, this is Bradley Teachers. I forgot to put the music on loop. So let me give us about another minute of music, then we'll get started. Hey, everybody, this is Bradley Teachers, and welcome to day 2 of the Canva Video Graphics Challenge. So thank you all for being here. I hope y'all did your homework last night. We're going to be building a lot more things today. I do have a couple of, I guess you call them housekeeping things to address from yesterday to help us out a little bit, and I'll wait to the 5-minute mark to tell you about those because I want everybody to be able to catch those couple of things. But today we're building. Today we are working. Today we are creating graphics. So if there's things that you are thinking about creating or ideas for things you would like to see created, jump into the chat here and mention those things. You know, we have the standard things. We have the overlays. We have the lower thirds. We have the sidebars. We have call to action graphics. We got full screen graphics. We got end screens. We got, I don't know if we're going to do a thumbnail today or not, but we got thumbnails. We got all this stuff, right, that can go with video graphics. And I want to, as I always call it, bowl down your alley. So let me know some things that you want to work on as far as graphics are concerned, and we'll see if we can make Canva do those things. Now today will be 99% static graphics. I'm not going to do animated graphics per se, but I do want to speak into graphics that have animations or videos in them, like the animated background, things like that, not necessarily animations of stuff moving around the screen, if you get what I mean, right? So we'll talk about that kind of stuff tomorrow. But today we will mention some things with video, some animations, presentation graphics, right? So all those different kind of ways that you can present your content. And remember that green screen that we're going to be dealing with pretty much the whole time is a great way to start thinking about how I want my graphics to show up in my environment, because that green screen, how they can float and things like that. So it's going to be really cool for that, especially even with presentations. Some things I was thinking about related to presentations that would be cool with that you can do with Canva combined with Ecamm's new powerful green screen for everything, right? So let me check out some of your comments here. We'll see what you got. As usual, I'm not going to put your comments on screen because I want to keep the video clean, but let's see what you got here. All right, we got some people saying, hey, Valerie did her homework. Good. A cat, a goose, and a duck with light coming from them like a light bulb. A cat, okay. And so you mean kind of a silhouette of a cat, a goose, and a duck kind of thing? Explain it to me a little bit more. It seems like it's pretty interesting. What's up, Nicholas? All right, from Bangkok, Thailand. Good to see you, man. Hello from Atlanta. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, make sure you put a Q colon for your questions. And we're about 2 minutes from starting, right? We got the tardy bell at 10:05, and we're going to get rolling. Let's see here. Make sure you guys register so you can get the downloads. Today's download, you actually have some graphic goodies in there. So you definitely want to register and get those little goodies for that. I wanted you to kind of experiment and play on your own and try to create on your own before I gave you graphics, right? I want you to be creative. I want you to kind of think through things that you want before I just hand you stuff. And it's like, kind of, it can sometimes dampen the creative spirit, right? When somebody just gives you everything. So I wanted you to kind of play with it and stuff like that. Let's see here. Okay, no questions so far, but so we have one idea so far. I'm going to revisit that, Carol. So, okay, silhouettes. Okay. So a goose, a duck, and a cat with a light coming from them like a light bulb. I got to think through that part, like a light beam or something like that. But we'll get it figured out. Johnny Triple E, good to see you. Got Maggie Rose in the house, fellow artist. Wolf Marshall, hello from San Diego. Let's see what we got here. We got my buddy Don. I didn't realize you were in San Diego, man. I know, I almost said that, George, but I figured somebody else would jump on it. Uh, hey, Dr. Jim. Okay, to get my homework, I figured I had to make a Canva MP4 and animate overlay. To get my homework to work, I figured I had to make a Canva MP4 and animated overlay. Was that right? It worked the way. Yeah, I mean, if it was animated, right? So yes, it would be an MP4. That's how we're going to do all of our exported videos because Canva cannot export a transparent background video. So MP4 is the way to do it with the green screen. Take the green screen out in Ecamm. Now, I did not create my hats in Canva. Hadn't thought about that, actually. Have you ever made a series for podcasting in Ecamm? You mean graphics for podcasting or a literal podcast? Give me some clarity on that. Um, let's see. Okay, somebody answered that. Yeah, a series about podcasting. Yeah, I don't. Ecamm does for sure. Uh, yes, yesterday's session is available right here on YouTube. You can look for it. The screen looks just like today's screen, but it says Canva Basics, and it's day number 1. It might still be listed under live videos on the Ecamm channel, so check in there where it says live, and then you should be able to probably find those. All right, y'all. It is 10:06, so we're going to jump into Canva right now. So first, we're going to do a little bit of housekeeping based on some comments and things we had yesterday. I'm just going to open up a raw video. And the first thing, I remember someone saying yesterday that they did not have all the things over here. Like it got to projects or something like that, then the rest of this was blank. Let me address that real quick for you now. Hopefully, and I'm guessing no matter what, apps should be in your sidebar. So you want to click apps, and then here, see where it says more from Canva, access even more content. Here's some other things. You have your bulk create, photos, charts, background. So if those things aren't on the sidebar, go to apps and just scroll down until you see this other part that says more from Canva, and you'll see some other things you may be missing. So you can click on photos and things like that. Then as you start to use those things, they should show up in your sidebar and you should be fine. The other thing that someone mentioned yesterday wasn't really a question. Yeah, it was a question. They asked me, do you use rulers or guides and things like that? I said, no, I typically don't, but I don't want to keep you from using them if you want to use them. So I'm going to show you where they are. If you go here to File, at the top of the page, once you open up any kind of document or any kind of project, go to File, and you want to go to View Settings, as you see right here. And then you're going to go to Show Rulers and Guides. So if I click that, you see the ruler show up at the top of the screen here. right? Now for guides, I'm going to go back to File. I'm going to go to View Settings, and I'm going to go to Add Guides. And now you get your guides interface here, right? And you can customize it, have all kinds of different stuff. For us, or for me, probably what I would suggest you do is go to Custom. And then I would do 3 columns, because it's pretty much, I go by the rule of thirds, so to speak, when it comes to graphics. I would make the gap 0 and no margin. Then I have my rule of thirds kind of thing, right? This is really good for sidebars and stuff like that. If you want to do thirds top to bottom, you can do that too, right? So I'll go back to File real quick, View Settings, go to Add Guides again, and I'm still in Custom. I'm gonna have 3 columns. I'm gonna go to 3 rows. 3 columns, 3 rows, and everything else is zeros, right? So that's pretty much a video thirds setup, right? And because it's really good for that. So when you add the picture of yourself, so to speak, let's go back to our secret weapon graphic. Let's go back to that. Mine is in my uploads folder. Now I don't have the one with my new mustache. I need to go check out that graphic in the group. All right, so let's see. I'll do this one, right? Secret weapon graphic with the guides turned on. And as you see, this was not planned, but I always want to tell you guys how the rule of thirds works. When you're shooting your videos, because I go by this, the rule of thirds. I'm not sure if you can see it right now, but see the purple line of that guide goes straight through my eyes. That's the perfect spot for eye line for doing video to your audience. That's like the perfect line for that. And it follows the rule of thirds, right? You have your lower third. That's what most of those lower third graphics are. They're not necessarily your name and a title, but anything that goes down here is a lower third. That's where the name came from. All right, enough of that. So you guys know how to put more things in your sidebar, and you now have guides and rulers if you need them. So now let's get to building, y'all. The first thing we're going to do is let's build a lower third. Now, what did you guys build last night when I said build some stuff, right? But I'm going to kind of take you through the motions. We're going to build a little bit more complicated, a little bit more stylized or whatever else lower thirds than what we did yesterday, because I want to actually show you guys how to build some cool stuff. Let me go over here to downloads, because I have my own little cheat sheet over here where I had some things that I wanted to design from. All right, so let's build a lower third. We're going to go to Elements, and we're going to go to our Shapes palette, right? Because that has really all the shapes we really want, as far as I'm concerned anyway, to make most of the graphics you need. These are all the shapes that you will need, right? So let's build kind of a little bit of a different style design. We're going to go with an angled box. And I'm going to pick up a second angled box here. So we're going to build a little bit of a design where we could put a logo or something in this box. Make that a little smaller. And let's go with some brand colors here. It's going to pick up blue. Oh, can't see that. See, that's why the secret weapon graphic works. All right, and let's make this smaller. Let's do it this way. Scale it smaller that way, then pull it. Scale smaller, pull it. All right, now I'm gonna show you guys a couple of different things that I didn't show y'all yesterday. The first thing is the position palette. So you want to click on position here and then go to layers. And now you can see all the pieces of your design or whatever you're putting on the page, right? So we're going to put this above that because we want the little angle to be there like that. And that looks like it kind of crosses through. And then we're going to do a secondary slanted box. And we can always do the colors later. I'm going to scale that down. Put it kind of like that. Now, I also want to do kind of, let's say we're going to do some kind of accents and things like that. Let's make this one white for now. And all we're doing is kind of Lego piecing this together, as I call it. I'm going to make that other part yellow too. Okay. So making kind of a cool lower third. Here's some little different type of design. And we can jazz this up a little bit with different accents and things like that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to copy this again and paste it. I'm going to make it yellow. Make it extend a little bit past the other one. Then I'm going to push that one to the back. Right, get kind of a little feel like that. You can also copy paste that again. Do a little accent like that. Right, so you kind of have all these things. Now, the way that I always build my lower thirds, always build your graphics how they're going to exist in their final state. So that's why I don't want you to be worried about animations and all that kind of stuff like that today. I want you to build the graphics as they're going to look when they're fully on screen. Always do that first. Then circle back and start to animate and make pieces interact with each other and do things like that. Always build the graphic first, how it's going to look when it's done on screen. Always do that, right? All right, so you guys still with me? Let me know you're still with me. I don't want to be jumping out way ahead of y'all. All right. So that's kind of a cool little lower third style graphic just using angled boxes. Real easy to do. The next thing I want to do is let's build a sidebar that kind of goes with this design, right? So let's do, like in this case, right? What I wanted to do here, you could put your logo in this box. You could put your name here. You could put your title here. You could put the title of whatever you're talking about here and a subtitle. All those different things like that. Now, let me say this real quick. Y'all that know me, that have been around me any length of time, knows that I only endorse sans serif fonts. I only use sans serif fonts whenever possible. Now, if you want to use a fancy font, a script font, things like that, they have to be huge to be legible. Sans serif fonts are more legible at small sizes than anything else. So you always want to lean to legibility, and legibility kind of leans into sans serif fonts. No matter what text you have on the screen, it's meant to be read, R-E-A-D. So forget about all the fancy stuff. If you're going to show it on a screen, you want people to be able to read it. And so if you have a real crazy brand font that you use for your logo, fine, okay? Use it as an intro graphic and get it off the screen and then go to sans serif fonts. People want to be able to read your stuff, all right? And then with that being said, I can go here and I can do a search for sans serif. So we got serif here. I'm not sure, it's supposed to be sans serif. Maybe they want it to be sans serif. Yeah, sans serif, all right. Oh, it's called a sans. All right, so all these fonts here are sans serif fonts. You have tons of them inside of Canva, right? Bold is always better. A good, decent size is always better. And I'm not sure who might be watching this on their phone, but even on a phone, that's legible, right? Yeah, and older audiences, right? The older the audience, see, I used to do a lot of what's called image magnification at church, which is basically having the image of the pastor or the speaker bigger on screen. It's a magnified image is all that means. And we always had a rule of thumb, always do the font size roughly the average age of the church plus 10, right? So if you have an older congregation and the average age is 60, you want to do size 70 fonts, which on a big screen is not that big, right? Because you're magnifying everything. You want people to be able to read the scripture, be able to read the lyrics to the worship songs and things like that. Text is meant to be read. So don't do fancy with your design. Do something nice and stable with the text, right? All right. So simple lower third with just slanted box shapes. Easy to do, right? Let's do, now I'm gonna show you kind of a technique to build it. Oh, we're gonna keep building this thing. Let's just copy this one. We'll make a new one. All right. So let's do this. Let's go here. I'm gonna hold down Option. Oh, it won't let me copy. I'll do it this way. There we go. There we go. Copy and paste. All right, so we're in the second one now. And what we're gonna do here is we're gonna build an overlay to kind of go with the lower third we just built. And because we're using green screen and we can't literally cut things out, we're gonna build this overlay as a green screen for where the hole is going to be for our overlay. So let's go back to elements. I'm going to pick the same slanted box because I want to use the same kind of theme, right? So I'm going to pick that same slanted box. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change the transparency of it so I can see myself through it. And now I'm going to draw my overlay. I'm going to enlarge this up. That's roughly a good size for that. Then I'm going to stretch it out. So now this is what my overlay will look like. The hole in the overlay will look like. That will be still kind of branded to this design. So now I'm going to make this green because we're going to be using a green overlay, right? To cut the hole out. And now all we really have to do is kind of find a background that this hole will be cut out of. So now, unlike Keynote, where we could take a shape and cut a hole in the shape, then export it, in Canva, we have to use green as the cutout. So with this, we can do something like, we can pick a photo and let's just say angles. I'm just spitballing here. That's different. Not the greatest look. I'm not overly digging this, but you kind of get what I'm saying, right? So we have that. We're gonna go to position, and we'll push it behind the green. We'll push it behind everything, actually. Push it behind everything. We go to the green here. We kick the green all the way up. And so now, if you anticipate this, this green is going to be the hole in your overlay. Now, when we export this as a PNG file, which will not let you do transparency if you don't have Pro. But in this case, transparency wouldn't work anyway because we can't cut a hole in the image. So that's kind of where that is with this, right? We use the green to cut holes and things versus a shape cutting a hole in the shape and then exporting the transparency. Let me slow down real quick. I see some cues here. So let's see what we have. Let me back up a little bit. How I got the yellow circle around my cursor, that's an app for my Mac called Magic Mouse. It's about $5, well worth the investment. It also has other features that will let me enlarge things. It'll let me pinpoint things. It'll let me draw with it. But it's called Magic Mouse. You can pick it up in the App Store. Let's see here. Team Sans Serif, love that. All right, so let's go. Yep, Q&A, let me find the questions. Okay, is it possible to save Legoed shapes in Canva to use? Yes, whenever, as I'm working right now, Canva is saving this. So what I would typically do is, let me just go back to home right now. So this is the file I just made. It's taking a little while to put a thumbnail up right now, but this is the file I just made. So Canva auto saves. What I can do here is I can copy it, make a copy, and then keep on designing other stuff. I can open it And then I can, change the name of it here, add more slides to it, and just keep going and going and going. But when I export, so say I did, this is the yellow one here, but down here, I want I don't know, a pink one, right? So I did a pink one down here. And when I go to share and go to download, I have the option of what page to download. So you can kind of have kind of a master file that you just keep building and building and building and building, and just export the page of the design you want, right? That's a great way to kind of build a branding package of your overlays. Just have one huge document with a bunch of pages in it, and then just keep on making graphics, because I can copy this and just keep on going, right? And the cool thing about it, if I click this right here, let me zoom that. Oh, that's under my picture. But right here, see those four little squares? If I click that, it shows kind of a grid view of all my designs. So I can go through like, oh, I need the pink one. Oh, I need the purple one. Oh, I need the blue one, right? Then just double click on that, and then I can copy it and do things like that. So I've done it multiple ways, either letting Canva auto save it, and then I just copy it to make another document, or I just have a document with 40 pages in it. And then I can look and see which one I'm doing, kind of keep it going, because once I lock in a design that I like, I can just copy and keep going, making it different colors or whatever else. Good question. All right. Yes, with Pro, you still have to do a green screen, because Pro or free, you cannot cut a shape out of a shape. So the green is your cutouts. Because if I wanted to make this an overlay, and I got a bunch of stuff on the screen. Let me delete these things that I do. Oh, deleted the wrong thing. All right. Okay. So if I wanted this to be an overlay, there's no way to cut this out of here in Canva. I'm going to use Ecamm's green screen feature to cut this out. So Pro or not, you're going to have to use green to cut stuff out. You can also use green to hide stuff and do different things like that. So I'm going to show you a design now where we're going to use some green to hide some things to make a little bit more cool or advanced looking lower third design. So I'm going to show you that real quick too. Let me see. I keep missing where you go to see positioning and layers alignment. Yeah. So if I go here, I can click on anything, but up here across the top of the screen, you have different options. Now, it depends on the size of your screen. You might have to expand your screen if you don't see everything, or you would get some dots here that say more. But you want to click on the one that says position. And once you click position, you're going to have an option for layers. Click layers, and now everything you have here can be drug and moved and things like that, and edit it that way. So if I click on this, I can now do different editing to it. I can click on it here, or I can click on it manually out here, right? But that's what it is. It's going to be position, then layers. That's where you're going to find that. Yeah, the lines, some of the lines will only let you shorten them to a certain length. Most boxes will let you make a box any size, even off the screen. But there's some things within it that's going to block you. But be creative by using green boxes to hide things. And with that note, we're going to make an overlay here. And I'm going to actually use some green to make the design. So let's do that real quick. We're going to go here, because I want to show you guys kind of an idea of using some green with it. Let's delete this one. I'm going to keep that text. All right, so let's go back to elements. We just use a square box for this one. All right, so we have, let's say, oh, I want to scale it proportionally. That's a decent sized box, but we'll see. All right, copy, paste. So I'm going to do kind of another kind of geometric style design, right? A little overlapping box here. That's a little big. More like that. All right. So I have a little overlapping kind of box here. And I'm going to copy that, copy paste. And I want to kind of make a geometric style design, right? So let's go here. That'll snap to that, which is still a little big for me, but we'll see. Let's make it a little bit smaller, more like that. So that'll give us that. All right. And then I'm going to copy that same box, copy paste. And I'll make that a line here. But I want a cutout in a shape that kind of goes here that makes an opening. Now I can't do that really any other way than the way I'm about to do it. So let's make that same width. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to use another box, and I'm going to make this box green because we're going to use it as a hider box. So what I want to do is actually make a gap here in this box to make that look like it's sitting behind there. Position, I'm going to put it on top of the big box and put that on top. Right? So what I've done here now is I've put this box on top to make that cutout, right? And let's drag that over to make that even. So when I make the background to this green, right? So that's what it's going to look like now in Ecamm. So you can start to use your green boxes to make things happen that weren't necessarily quite the way you wanted them to be because you can't cut stuff out. So always kind of think about, how would this look cool? Could this work this way? Things like that, by starting to use green boxes as hider boxes. So now when I export this, you take the green screen out, that's going to be a gap through there, right? Because if I couldn't cut it out, right, you kind of get that look. And that's simple, but it's something to kind of think about as you start to do your designs. Kind of use the green boxes to help you kind of make cool stuff. So let's do this. Copy, paste. Gonna make that green. Right, you can even start, and start kind of thinking through as you make your graphics. So now that way you have all these ideas, right? Now you did also mention a line. So let's put an accent line on there. We can go here. That aligns with that. I'll hold down Shift. Now right now, this line lets me go to nothing. So I'm not sure which line you picked. I'm just holding down Shift and dragging the line. Now some lines do have some parameters on them, but then all the lines don't. So I might just want to pick a different shape element to get a different design, right? And so then you kind of use your colors and things like that. Yeah, just copy and paste it because you already have the size of the square you want. Copy and paste it. Change the color, right? And you kind of still now, everything has a look and it's locked in. You don't have one square that's a hair bigger than another square and one square that's a little bit slimmer than another square, right? Copy paste works awesome. And then obviously your text goes in here. Let's go back to position. Drag it to the top. Right? So there we go. So that's another kind of overlay, right? Let's do, I know some people were asking me last night, kind of when, after the thing was over, they were saying, well, sidebars are cool, lower thirds are cool, but most people don't really think about this as what I call a pop-up graphic. Let's go here and let's make another square. Now, a pop-up graphic is necessarily not a sidebar, but a graphic that just kind of has information in it, right? And as you see here, even because of my secret weapon graphic, You can even do a picture of yourself pointing, right? So you know roughly where your finger is when you point at different stuff that you naturally point. So you don't have to worry about finding a box kind of thing. So take a picture, a secret weapon graphic picture of yourself pointing, right? In your natural kind of thing. Like right now, my arm is resting on my chair and my finger's going to be X height, right? I can put a graphic on the screen that lines up with the natural pointing of my finger. Now I can make a pop-up graphic. Hey, let's talk about this. Ding. Then it pops up, right? So that's secret weapon graphic. Then you can make a graphic to do different things. So this can be a pop-up graphic here. Use different shapes to do it. Use more of a shape like this for it. Then put text in it. So think about those different things as you're making stuff, right? Now you don't want to have your screen full of stuff like this, but kind of think about it as you work through. Now, that's a pop-up graphic style. You would obviously add your text, and we'll be animating things tomorrow. But think about how your text is going to look on it. Think about contrast of the text versus the box, those type of things, right? For sidebars, so as you see here now, the guides actually already break the screen down into thirds. So that's kind of a 1/3 sidebar. And as you think about it, we're going to design this as it will look when it finally hits the screen. But you can animate this out. Think about different ways you want it to animate in, along with the text and things of that nature. And so you go here now. That's going to be too dark for that. The purple is good, but we're going to definitely have to change the color of the text. So we have our text here. You can also option drag, excuse me, to copy. And so then you do your different hierarchy of text, right? I'll pick a different sans serif font, a little bit lighter, a little bit smaller, maybe even another contrast in color. And then you have your highlighted buttons here, right? For your sidebar. And so you can think about all those different things like that. Now, I was asked this the other day, even before our class started, about transparency of graphics. Because we're using green screen, if you have, okay, I'll do it this way. If you have a pro version of Canva, and I did this graphic with transparency, right? And I don't have to use green screen. I can export this with a transparent background because I have a pro version. The transparency will stay here of that image. If you're using the non-pro version, because there's a green screen behind it, it's going to come out as a solid color when you take the green screen out. So the only way to get a true transparency like this is to have the pro version, or build the box in Ecamm and then bring the animated text in from Canva. So you can do it that way too. All right. So sidebar, I'm done a lower third, did kind of a pseudo overlay kind of thing. And I want to show you guys something here really quick. It's not a secret weapon of Canva, but it's a pretty cool thing. So I'm gonna go back over here to elements, and I'm gonna type in frame. Now, I know it's a weird name, but for Canva, this element here, this frame element, is a special kind of element that can be filled with a photo, a video, or a color. Unlike other shapes, these cannot be filled with videos or photos. These shapes can. And what's special about that is now you have these different shapes where we're not talking about animation yet, but now you have these different shapes where I can fill the shape with a video, right? Have my green screen, and I can bring in this video inside of a shape into Ecamm. So now I can have a pop-up graphic of a sidebar that's a video. So if I did this, I'll go back to frames, and I'll have to find a square one. I'll just show all of them. Here's one. We have a rectangular frame, and it has a frame around it. We're just going to ignore the frame around it right now. So we have a frame here, right? We go here, fill it with a video. And in Ecamm now, we now have a video sidebar with text on it. Now, this is not the greatest one to use for that. I would probably blur the video and things like that, which you obviously can do. Not sure if you knew that or not, but you can blur the video. Where is that at? Go to adjust. We have vignette. We can turn down the saturation to make it more gray, right? And you can also blur it too. I can't remember where that is right now, but you can actually blur the video too. So I can export this as a sidebar with the green screen background. And now I have a video sidebar in Ecamm, right? So there's ways to do stuff like that. You can have a video background and then cut your shapes out of it with green. So those are different ways to have animation without animating stuff. Now I want to show you, let's go back to me on screen real quick, because now I want to show you something using a frame. So let me turn this on. So this is a light bulb filled with a video. What I want to do is show you a secret power of Keynote now, combined with the secret power of Canva that most people didn't really realize was possible. Because let me go back here. Do you guys want to see that? You want me to jump into Keynote real quick and show you this little special superpower that you can do that can now really kick up Canva a notch using frames? Let me know if you want to see that, because I don't want to show you nothing that you don't want to see. Let me answer a couple of questions real quick. Can you pull Canva designs into Descript while editing video? Do you insert design pages as transitions? If Descript can do green screen, you can. For graphics, if you have pro version, you can definitely use PNGs and things like that. Descript would have to be able to use green screen for it to work. Can we add active links so viewers can click? No. Graphics cannot have links in them. Now there's widgets that I think may be available that would allow you to have kind of, it looks like a graphic, but it's a widget, like a little web page or something that's clickable. I haven't seen those work consistently ever. There's been talk of them though for different things. But yeah, I haven't seen a clickable graphic that really works in a video yet, in the video window. Yeah, I'll show you how to get the grid lines again in a second. This is more of a Ecamm question. Yeah, the little orange outline, that is it's a camera overlay, and you can pick the shape of the camera overlay, and you can also pick the outline around it in that control window. Okay, y'all. It looks like y'all might want to see how I do some special thing with Ecamm. Now, with Keynote. Now, this is something that I haven't seen anywhere else. So you guys are seeing it first. This is a reveal for this group. So you guys should be uber happy right now. I'm going to reveal something to you that's going to hopefully kick up all your creativity a notch and make y'all do some cool stuff. Now, this light bulb is a frame that's filled with a video. As you saw, or maybe you didn't see, there wasn't a lot. Let me go back here real quick. There wasn't a lot of frames that had really, exotic shapes. Most of them are kind of square-ish. You got some different things. You got some letters. You got stuff like that. But you're not getting like a ton of uber cool kind of frame shapes. Well, I'm going to show you guys how to do that better. Let's go here. Oh. Keynote. All right. Now, y'all going to have to watch this on replay. I know you don't have time to open up Keynote. Okay, but here's Keynote, a plain white presentation. Now, you probably didn't notice, but that shape you just saw with the lightning inside of it was the light bulb from Keynote. This was it right here. I was able to make this a Canva frame, which then allows me to fill it with anything I want to. Then I can export that graphic. It has an animation inside of it. Let me show you how to make custom frames in Canva, that in Keynote, that you can then use in Canva to make specialized, awesome, customized graphics. All right. So here's the light bulb. Let's do something different because we already did a light bulb. Let's go to, I'm going to do this actually. I'm going to do a mustache. It's an inside joke. Y'all probably know. If y'all saw the post yesterday, this is a little inside joke. All right. So we have a mustache here. What we're going to do is we're going to go to format. We're going to go to fill, image fill. Image fill actually doesn't make it work. The built-in image fill will not allow it to become a frame in Canva. What you have to do is you have to fill it with an outside image, like a PNG or a JPEG from your desktop. And I'm just going to grab a picture of myself from my desktop, and I'm going to drag it over this little square here. Let me enlarge that so you can see it. Drag it over this little square from my desktop, and now the mustache is filled with a picture of me. Now, we're already done. We're basically done right now. All we have to do now is say File, Export to PDF. So we're going to export this as a PDF. I'm going to save it to my desktop as BB Mus for mustache. So now we have a PDF file. Let's go back to Canva. It's literally that simple. So go back to Canva. I'm back in Canva, and we're going to go back home. Now we're going to go to Create a Design. Create a Design. Click that. And we're going to go down here to Import File. And it's kind of behind my head right now, but that's right here, Import File. I'm going to click that. And now I get to open up that PDF. We're right here, opening it up. I click it. And as you saw that little flash right there. That was the telltale sign that it worked. There's actually that landscape picture behind this. So if I click this now and delete, it deletes my picture. This is now a frame, which I can now fill with a video. I can fill it with the color. I can fill it with a picture. And it's a custom shape now in Canva that I can now use in my overlays, in my pop-up graphics, whatever, and it can be filled with anything. The cool thing about this that I don't want you guys to miss is that you now have this whole library of shapes in Keynote that can be used as frames in Canva to be filled with anything. So the duck, the goose, and that kind of stuff, we can now grab them out of here, make them frames, and now fill them with any kind of color, photo, or video. I hope you guys are grasping this, the idea of that. Now, doesn't end there. I'm going to give you one more little bonus, all right? Today is bonus day. I'm going to give you one more little bonus. Then we're going to jump back into Canva and make some other graphics. So please send me ideas for other graphics you want, all right? Did I spell that right? No. Yes, you got that right. We can now also make any font, any installed font that you have, any installed font, even a crazy font like this. any font can now be a frame. I go here, I'm going to go to style for that font. Go here instead of text color, I'm going to pick image fill, and it's using the built-in image, which doesn't work. It will not work with a built-in image. You got to use a JPEG or PNG from somewhere else. I'm going to drag that over there. And as you see, it kind of changed. So now this text is now a frame. Guys, this is the whole game changer, I'm telling you. Now, I'm going to export this real quick, but let me show you something else before I go there. Let's go back to shape. We're going to go to, let's go to a shape that has pieces in it. Trying to find a multi-piece kind of shape kind of thing. Well, I can go back to the light bulb since we got it already. Okay, light bulb. Now, the thing about frames is that you might want the light bulb, the top, to be different from the bottom. It just takes a little bit of extra work in Keynote for that to happen. So I'll click this image. I'm going to go over here to Format, Shapes and Lines, Break Apart. Let me enlarge that. Format, Shapes and Lines, Break Apart. And now it created a top and a bottom of the light bulb. All I have to do is fill these two pieces with two different, or the same image twice, right? Instead of the whole thing being filled with one image, now the pieces of it can be filled with separate images, right? So I go to image fill, go here, image fill. So now when I bring this into Canva, these two pieces can be filled separately. Game changer, right? It works for anything that you build as a shape or any shape that you edit. It works. Now I'm going to show you something here that's going to happen because we use text. So I'm going to go to File, Export to PDF. It's just basically a PDF. I'm going to save it. And I'm going to call this new. Just going to be another one. I'm telling you guys, if this is not worth the price of admission times 100, I don't know how to satisfy y'all. I think this is awesome, right? Okay, so let's go back here, go back to Google Chrome. And I'm going to go back home, create a design, import a file, new. Now that one's loading. There's one little, it's not a hitch, but it's one little thing you're going to get when you make a text frame. Doesn't hurt anything. But as you see here, you see that Bradley teaches and that little white text. It's just extra. You can delete that. That's the only thing you're going to get extra when you make text into a frame. You'll get kind of a default font with it. So just click that and delete it. I'll click that again, delete my background picture. There we go. Now these are two separate landscape images now, and I can fill them separately. Now I can group them so I can move them around together, but I can still fill them separately. Right. Now, I just want you guys to imagine the things you can be doing with this. This is going to be so awesome for that. Now, I got another little trick in my bag that I want to show y'all yet. But that alone should keep you guys creating stuff and making lower thirds and pop-ups and different kind of graphics that you can make with that. So I'm going to go on maybe 3 or 4 more minutes of making things. So let's go back to making some other graphics real quick. And then I'm going to use up the rest of the time for questions. So if you guys didn't catch that, I know I just jumped in Keynote, jumped back into Canva, but watch the replay. It's more simple than you think. If you don't have a JPEG or PNG file, just screen capture your screen, right? Just do the Apple Shift 3 and take a snapshot of your screen, because that's a PNG file. It doesn't matter what you fill it with. You just cannot let it fill with the default image inside of Keynote. The export doesn't work that way. You got to use a external image that you fill with. That's the kicker. It's always attention to detail. And when I figured that out, the creative floodgates opened. Now, in the old, not the, yeah, I'm going to reference it. If you go back to the Keynote challenge, hint, hint, go back to some of my old stuff, I talk about how to edit and manipulate the different shapes in Keynote into other stuff. So combine that with then filling it with a PNG or a JPEG, then bringing it into Canva as a frame. It's endless, literally endless possibilities. I really want you guys to grasp that you don't have to be stuck with these little shape squares and rectangles and stuff like that. You can make your own. So hopefully that was helpful. Guys, I hadn't even made a tutorial for that yet on my YouTube channel. This is something I haven't revealed to anybody until today. So Moneymaker, it blows the doors off of things that you can do now. I'll just say that. So hopefully that was helpful to you guys. But okay, other kind of graphics that you would make for your video, I would say, you know, you can do what I call full screen graphics, right? Just to give yourself a break of being on screen. And those are, I'm just throwing this in right here as a background image. It can be whatever you want, right? But then I would go in and I would pick a rectangle. And this gives you a break from being on screen, right? Just something, give people a break from looking at you, give you a break where you can, pick up your water and you can drink some water, whatever else. You can read the full screen graphic as a script. And so this could be like, and what's cool about this, it's shareable. So you can say, hey, take a screen capture of this. And so, obviously this would have text in it. And so you would say, make sure your text is red and this kind of size and blah, 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 and have your logo in the corner. So you want to brand this, right? So you definitely want to do some full screen graphics to give yourself a break, especially if you have big blocks of text that you want to give and it doesn't really fit in a sidebar. Make a full screen graphic, then just read it to people while you're off screen, right? All right, let me see. I wanted to make sure I cover it. Oh, now if you guys want to hang with me a few more minutes, there's really only 4 minutes left in the hour, but I do want to answer some more questions, and I do want to venture briefly into making presentation slides. So let me know if you want to hang with me a little bit longer and do that. If not, we're cool. I can kind of bring it up in tomorrow's animation thing or whatever else like that. So I'm going to look at your questions real quick, and then you guys let me know if you want to hang with me for a little bit longer. Okay, Alan, okay, let me go back. I'm just going to type in Q. I'm going to only look at questions for now. Let's see. Okay, Q. Okay, answer that one. Answer that. Nope, can't add active links. Let's see. Answer that one. Okay, best use case for blurring a video. When you have text that you want to be able to be legible over the video. So like if I had that frame thing, I'm just going to add a video to this thing. Let's stick a video in here. Video, because that's kind of sharp, right? So I keep forgetting where that is. Canva puts stuff all over the place. Oh, see all filters. There's a blur filter somewhere. I don't know where it is. Is it on the playback? Well, you can change the video speed and stuff. All right. But it's somewhere in here. I keep forgetting where it's at. But you can blur the video because that's a little busy if I had text behind it. So I want it to be kind of blurred so I can make sure the text is more legible behind it. That would be a reason for blurring the video. That'd be the best case reason for doing it if you have text you want to have legible. Or if you're using green screen and you want to animate a video behind you, you don't want this video to be as sharp and in focus as you are, right? Just like my background behind me is blurred. Whatever you use behind you, you want to be the focus, you want to be fully focused or fully sharpened. You want whatever's behind you to be blurred. So that's another reason to do that if you're using it for a virtual background. Can we create our own custom frame in Keynote? Yes, you can create your own custom frame in Keynote. You can use the draw tool. You can combine circles and squares and cut things out of each other and stuff like that to make shapes. So yeah, you can make your own shapes. You can make your own shapes in Keynote and then fill it with an image, and then you're good to go. It's a frame. Yeah, and that's the same question as that one. Can you create your own shape in Keynote? Yes, you can. Can you create your own silhouette and create the frame? Yes, you can. If you use shape palette pieces to make it, right? Now, I do have a more advanced frame making thing that I also found out how to do, but it's too much. It's not a, that makes it not be a Canva challenge. I'm kind of getting back into Keynote. I wanted to show you that as it complements Canva in a quick and easy way. I don't want to do a lot of this is how you do something in Keynote, because it's not a Keynote challenge, it's a Canva challenge. In that instance where I showed you that, I'm kind of using Keynote as a helper app for Canva, showing you something extra that can be done quickly and easily. So yeah, but that's kind of more back into Keynote, which I will not be doing in this challenge. Yeah, I just figured it out by playing around how to make those frames. What did you select to group the two parts of the light bulb together to move into each piece? Yeah, when in Canva, and you can pretty much do it with anything, right? So I'm going to pick two elements. Once you select both, you see here there's an option. Oh, it disappeared when I clicked the thing. You have the option to group. I click group, but now they can still be edited individually, as far as field. Because you see a little, you can't see it because it's purple, but it's a little bit darker outline around that. So if I pick a color, only that one changes. Now you can see a little purple outline. So I can still edit them separately, but I can move them together. That's what I did. Just selected both, and then group becomes an option. You just want to go clean. There's no real how many graphics per slide is too many. Just want to keep it clean, because the content you're creating is the number one thing, not the graphics. Now, graphics enhance and support your content. Graphics are not the content, right? Because otherwise you could just print out a PDF and give it to them. Is there a way to save the new frames as an element? Not natively. You can make a folder or a project folder of your own. Now, remember, they're all going to be here in your recent design list. So you can make a folder called My Frames, right? You can make a shareable link to them and then send that shareable link to other people. And like I said, y'all know me. I'm not trying. Yes, I do have stuff to sell. Yes, I do have a store. Even these things right here are for sale, right? But I want to empower y'all to do your own stuff. I could have just made these things and said, hey, look at these new frames that I can sell you. You can make these yourself. And so I want to empower you and deputize you to become frame designers. Go at it, y'all. Let's see. Can you also import your logo into Keynote? And then, okay, depends. I'll say depends. I'll have to answer that one kind of sidebar because we're getting into some minutia of Keynote. Yes, it can be done. Short answer, but there is some work to it. How many slides would be a full screen graphic versus on screen? How many slides would be full screen? I'm not sure what that means. Can you clarify that a little bit for me? Can you finish the transition slide that you were just doing? The transition slide. I don't remember doing a transition. Let's see. Will the frames you import as PDF in the Canva stay in Canva? Yes, they are your now recent designs. So once you upload them, they're there. Like you see these two here, right? When I come back tomorrow, next week, whenever, now they're going to scroll down the list as I make more stuff. But I can make a project folder, put all of them in there, and they're good to go. Yeah, real quick again, I'm going to show you guys the grid lines, and then I'm going to do a couple of quick things with presentations, and then we're going to call it a day. All right, so let's click that. Oh, let me do this real quick. One thing about frames, this is general, this works for even the built-in frames. When you fill it with a photo, you can just click it and delete, and the photo will disappear. You fill it with a video, you can just click it, click delete, the video disappears. If you fill it with a color, click it and delete, you delete it. So remember that about frames. If you fill it with a color, you can't click it and delete the color. It deletes the frame. When you fill it with anything else, it deletes what you filled it with. So I guess for a safety measure, you can just stop clicking and deleting and just drag whatever the new thing is on top of it, right? Just drag the new thing on top of it instead of clicking it and deleting what you filled it with. That's a way to keep it safe. But if you delete it when it's filled with a color, it'll delete the frame. You can always undo it. But if you fill it with a photo or video, it'll be okay. All right, back to this. We're going to go to File. Going to go to File. We're going to go to View Settings. Then we're going to go to Show Rulers and Guides. That shows the rulers. Now you have rulers. The second part is File, View Settings, Add Guides. And now you have your guides options. Now what I showed you earlier is I went to Custom. I did a 3x3 with 0 gap and 0 margin. And there's your 3x3 video guide. And it's earlier in the video too, in case you missed it. You can see the replay for that. Now, I know I told you guys yesterday, build everything with video. There's one exception. When you make presentations. So I'm going to go back home. I'm going to go to presentations. Now, oddly enough, Keynote is a presentation software that we use for graphics. Canva is kind of graphic software overall. Keynote does a lot of things better than Canva as far as making overlays, lower thirds because of its transparency features and cutout features. But Canva makes better presentations, than Keynote because of all the templates it has. This thing has tons of templates. Now, the cool thing that I want to show you guys, and I might add this to your homework. So we're going to pick a template. I'm going to say add all 12 pages. Now, what I would do with this, because I want to build this with my video window in mind, I would then go to Elements, and I'd put a rectangle somewhere. Now, see down here? That's typical. That looks like a typical design. Doesn't look special. I'm going to make a video window where I look like I'm part of the presentation. So I'll put a little rectangle there, and I'll start redesigning these slides where I fit into the design, right? So then when I do this, and I'll copy that, go to the next slide, hit paste, right? I would start to now do these designs with my video window in mind. Even if my video window was this, I'm going to put myself in a video like that, right? So I would redesign all my slides. So then when I go into Ecamm, obviously, actually, excuse me there, I'd make that green because that'd be my cutout, right? And I would do that in all the slides. Then when I export this or play it live, which I'll do here right now, just for the sake of grins, going to present that as a full screen video, right? And then I can make this transparent. Hope you guys can see that arrow. I don't know if you can see the arrow or not, but I would make this transparent with my video behind it. And now I'm part of the presentation instead of a rectangle stuck in a corner, right? Something else that's cool that I want you guys to think of as far as presentations is concerned. Let's pull up a new presentation. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to pull up a new presentation. I don't know. Let's use this one. I'm going to apply all those slides. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this orange. I'm going to make it green. Then I'm going to say change all of them. So now wherever that's green is going to be transparent. So let me show you how that looks. I'm going to play this presentation. It's now full screen. I'm going to go back to myself, full screen. Okay. Then I'm going to add a screen overlay. And it's going to be the last thing I do. All right. So I'm going to add a screen overlay. And I'm going to do secondary display, which is the presentation. I'm going to do green screen key. And now you have that Prezi kind of presentation. I don't know why it has that orange border around it. No border. All right. So now you have that Prezi kind of presentation, right? And now you can present, put some cool animations in, put some cool transitions in, and you have this now cool presentation that's a live presentation. I still got my light bulb on. Sorry about that, y'all. A live presentation that is now Prezi style. You can have all your transitions working, stuff moving. I'm telling you guys, the green screen option of Ecamm is, yeah, it just blows stuff away, right? All right. So let me go to homework. I'm going to keep on talking while the homework screen is up. You guys have a graphics pack that you should have gotten today if you registered for free, right? So you got the graphics pack. Take that graphics pack and customize some of those designs. You can now jump into Keynote, make a few frames that you can fill to make your pop-up graphics, things like that. I did a quick run through of presentations. I'm going to do more about presentations tomorrow because tomorrow is animation day. So we're going to be doing those kind of things. Hopefully this has been helpful to you guys. I've been having a real good time doing this with y'all. I hope you have really enjoyed it. I'm going to jump in real quick now and answer some questions you may have. And let me turn off that screen share overlay. So let's get to some questions real quick before we call it a day. What frames you import? Where can I find the grid lines? I did that one. To animate the heading. We're gonna do animation tomorrow, so I'll show you how you do animations tomorrow. Yeah, that wasn't an animated slide. That was more of a full screen graphic, right? So you can put a video behind it, put a little bubble in front, and then add your text. That's like a big block of text. And I'll cover it again tomorrow. Sorry about that, because I kind of started, yeah. It's like an hour's not enough sometimes. But I'll start tomorrow with creating or kind of a little bit of deeper dive into some of the graphics I made today, and then end tomorrow's session with animation. Frankly, there's not a lot of animation options in Canva, but they're there and they're good. Pretty good. So we're going to talk about animation tomorrow, but it'll be more of an extension of today. So I'll do more of what I did today, but we're going to be animating slides. We're going to be animating elements of a slide to kind of get that presentation look. So those things will be tomorrow. So I'll definitely do that tomorrow. But the graphic I was making for that was a static, just image that we were going to export with text on it, right? So if you got a big block of text, a scripture, a paragraph, a info thing, you say, hey, make sure you screen capture this, and you just read it to your audience, right? But I'll do more of a designed version of that tomorrow where it looks cleaner and it gives more clarity to what I was saying. Oh, okay. There's not necessarily a formula to using a full screen slide versus text on a screen with you. As I said, the text and the graphics are meant to enhance what you're saying. So if I'm talking about different bullet points, I can just show one point on the screen and keep on talking. But if it's like 4 bullet points, you may want to use a full screen graphic or a sidebar. It depends on the amount of information you're trying to convey at that time. So if it's cumulative, right? So I'm talking, point one shows up. Point two, a little bit later on, point two shows up, blah, 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 blah. I get close to the end and I said, hey, we covered these 8 points. That'd be a great time for a sidebar or a full screen graphic, right? So that's kind of the formula I would go by. I would also not ever really have a slide full of text, like wall-to-wall text on the screen. We don't want to do death by PowerPoint, right? Always big text, because you can't put that much text on the screen when it's big, right? Remember, big, bold, sans serif. So even when you're doing a full screen slide or full screen graphic, it's not wall-to-wall text. So that's kind of the formula, right? My Gumroad page doesn't exist anymore, but I do have, it's bradleyteaches.com/store. Go there instead. And it's a new store that I have up with Podia, the company called Podia, because I'll probably be putting some courses and things like that on there too, like the course about making frames with Keynote, a deeper dive and things like that. So I'm going to be starting doing more stuff like that, little deep dive courses that I'm selling. But yeah, but go to bradleyteaches.com/store and you should be able to find some graphics things there for Canva and Keynote. I'm actually coming out with a Canva mega bundle like I have the Keynote mega bundle. It's not ready yet. Maybe by the end of this challenge, or I'll send you guys an email later with it in there. Okay. Let's see. And I'm just basically in the question mode right now. So if you don't have a Q colon in front of what you type, I'm not seeing it because I'm actually keying in on questions because I know we're over time and I wanted to focus on questions. All right, and that was the last question. So I'm gonna do one last call for questions here. Oh wow, we're an hour and 21 minutes in. Really an hour 15 because I started 5 minutes early. But anyway, all right, y'all. Thank y'all so much for coming. Tomorrow we're gonna go a little bit more advanced making graphics and then go into animation, both presentation style animation for the Prezi style videos, sidebar animation, built-in animations and things like that. So we're gonna have a good time. Do your homework, edit those graphics, enhance those graphics that are in your graphics pack, make some frames. Send me a DM, let me know what you're working on. All right, y'all. So until next time, be good to yourselves, be good to one another. Keep on creating, y'all. It was a blast today. Hope you guys had a good time. See y'all tomorrow. Bye-bye.